Hello there, Steve here. Welcome back to another Sleepy Steve story. I hope you are tucked in, comfortable, and warm. Go on. Adjust your pillow if you need to. Let your shoulders drop, and allow the day to slow down around you, because there is absolutely no rush tonight. None at all. Before we drift off tonight, remember to subscribe to help Steve-O out, and I will keep making more sleepy stories to help you study gently, revise quietly, and settle your mind at the end of the day. We are continuing with VCE Psychology, Unit 3, Area of Study 1, and tonight we are focusing on stress as a psychobiological process. That means we are going to look at stress as something that involves both the mind and the body. Because stress is not just a feeling, and it is not just a physical reaction. It is a coordinated response involving the nervous system, the endocrine system, cognition, emotion, behavior, and the ongoing relationship between a person and their environment. Tonight, we will move slowly through the difference between stress and a stressor, the role of the nervous system in responding to threat or challenge, the fight-flight-freeze response, the role of adrenaline and cortisol, the difference between acute stress and chronic stress, the general idea of the gut-brain axis, and the ways stress can influence psychological and physiological functioning. You do not need to memorize every term right now. And you do not need to hold all of it tightly in your mind. Just let the key ideas drift past, one at a time, like lights along a quiet road after rain. Take a slow breath in now, and gently let it out. Let the room around you become still. Imagine that we are sitting in a quiet study room late at night, with a warm lamp on the desk, a soft blanket across your knees, and rain tapping lightly on the window, while your psychology notes rest open in front of you, not demanding anything, not rushing you, just waiting calmly as we begin. Stress begins with something that places pressure on a person. That thing is called a stressor. A stressor might be an upcoming exam, a difficult conversation, a loud noise, a sudden danger, a heavy workload, an argument, a performance, a major life change, or even something positive that still requires adjustment, such as starting a new job, moving house, joining a new class, or preparing for an important opportunity. The stressor is the event, situation, or stimulus that has the potential to challenge the person, while stress is the psychological and physiological response that occurs when the person perceives that the demands of the situation may exceed their ability to cope. So already we can hear something important in that definition. Stress is not simply what happens outside us. It is also how we interpret what is happening, how our body responds, and whether we believe we have the resources to manage the demand. This is why two people can face the same situation and have different stress responses, because one person may see the situation as manageable, while another may see it as overwhelming, uncertain, or threatening. Let that idea settle for a moment. A stressor is the trigger. Stress is the response. And the response involves both body and mind. In psychology, when we call stress psychobiological, we are recognizing that psychological processes and biological processes are connected. A student waiting outside an exam room may notice thoughts moving quickly through the mind, such as, "I hope I remember everything," or "I wish I had more time," or "I think I can do this if I stay calm." At the same time, the body may be responding with a faster heart rate, a dry mouth, tense muscles, quicker breathing, sweaty palms, or butterflies in the stomach. Those physical changes are not random. They are part of the body's preparation for action. The nervous system detects and responds to internal and external information, and when the brain appraises something as potentially threatening or demanding, the body begins to organize itself so that it can respond. Now, let us move slowly into the fight-flight-freeze response. The fight-flight-freeze response is an acute stress response that prepares the organism to confront the threat, escape from the threat, or become still in response to the threat. Fight means preparing to confront or deal with the stressor. Flight means preparing to move away or escape. Freeze means becoming still or momentarily unable to act, which can sometimes occur when the nervous system is processing danger or when immediate action is not clear. This response is strongly connected to the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system regulates many involuntary bodily functions, and it has two major divisions that are especially important when we talk about stress: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. When the body detects a threat or challenge, the sympathetic nervous system becomes activated. It increases arousal. It prepares the body for action. It increases heart rate, increases breathing rate, redirects blood flow towards the muscles, causes pupils to dilate, reduces digestive activity, and helps release energy so that the body is ready to respond. It is like the body quietly turning up the power, not because something has definitely gone wrong, but because action may be required. Then, when the stressor has passed, or when the body no longer needs to remain in a heightened state, the parasympathetic nervous system helps calm the body back down. It lowers arousal. It slows heart rate. It supports digestion. It helps return the body towards a more balanced resting state. A simple way to remember it is that the sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for action, while the parasympathetic nervous system helps restore the body after action. Activation and calming. Arousal and recovery. The body responding, and then the body returning. Take another slow breath in now, and let it out gently, as though you are giving your own parasympathetic nervous system permission to do its quiet work. Now, stress also involves the endocrine system, which uses hormones to communicate through the bloodstream. In the immediate fight-flight-freeze response, the adrenal medulla releases adrenaline and noradrenaline, hormones that help prepare the body for rapid action. Adrenaline contributes to increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, faster breathing, and the release of glucose for energy. This is why, during acute stress, the body can feel suddenly alert, energized, shaky, tense, or ready to move. The response is not designed to be comfortable. It is designed to be useful. In the short term, stress can help focus attention, increase alertness, and prepare the body to deal with a challenge. But if stress continues for too long, or if the body remains activated without enough time to recover, the response can become more costly. This brings us to cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone released by the adrenal cortex, and it is often associated with longer-lasting stress responses. It helps maintain energy supply by increasing glucose availability, and it supports the body in continuing to respond when the stressor is ongoing. Cortisol is not simply bad. The body needs cortisol. It plays important roles in metabolism, energy regulation, immune functioning, and the body's daily rhythm. But when cortisol remains elevated over a long period, chronic stress may begin to place strain on the body and mind. Chronic stress refers to stress that persists over time, especially when demands continue and recovery is limited. A short burst of stress before a presentation is different from weeks or months of ongoing pressure, uncertainty, conflict, lack of sleep, or constant worry. Acute stress is usually brief. Chronic stress is ongoing. Acute stress may help the body respond to a short-term demand. Chronic stress can become harmful when activation continues without enough recovery. This is one of the reasons sleep matters so much. Rest gives the body opportunities to recover, regulate, repair, and reset. As you are listening now, safely resting, there is nothing you need to do with this information except let it settle quietly. Now let us think about stress and the brain. When a person experiences a potential stressor, the brain is involved in detecting, interpreting, and responding to that situation. The amygdala is important in emotional processing, especially the detection of threat or fear-related information. If the amygdala signals that something may be threatening, other systems in the body can become activated, helping prepare the person for action. The hypothalamus plays a key role in coordinating stress responses because it helps link the nervous system and the endocrine system. Through this coordination, the brain can influence the release of hormones and the activation of bodily systems. The prefrontal cortex is also important because it is involved in higher-order thinking, decision-making, attention, planning, and the regulation of emotional responses. During stress, especially intense or prolonged stress, the prefrontal cortex may be affected, which can make it harder to concentrate, think flexibly, make decisions, or regulate emotions calmly. This is why stress can affect behavior and mental processes at the same time. A person under stress may think differently, they may focus more narrowly, they may become more alert to possible danger, they may have difficulty recalling information, they may feel irritable, worried, tense, restless, or overwhelmed, they may sleep poorly, they may withdraw from others, work too much, avoid tasks, or become more reactive than usual. These changes are not simply character flaws. They are part of the interaction between stress, the nervous system, hormones, cognition, emotion, and behavior. Let us take a slower breath here, in and out. The rain is still tapping softly on the window. The lamp is still warm. Your notes are still resting quietly on the desk. Now we can look gently at stress as something that is not always the same for every person. Psychologists often distinguish between different types or sources of stress. A daily pressure such as transport delays, homework, noise, deadlines, or small social conflicts may be called a daily hassle. A major life event, such as changing schools, moving house, experiencing a family separation, losing a loved one, or facing a significant illness, may create stronger or longer-lasting stress because it requires major adjustment. An acculturative stressor can occur when a person is adapting to a new culture, including changes in language, expectations, social norms, support systems, identity, and belonging. A catastrophic event, such as a natural disaster or serious accident, can create intense stress because it may threaten safety, predictability, and control. The stress response depends not only on the event itself, but on how the event is appraised, what resources are available, and what support the person can access. This is where psychological and social factors become very important. A student facing a difficult SAC may feel less stressed if they have clear notes, supportive teachers, good sleep, previous success, and a calm plan. The same student may feel far more stressed if they are exhausted, isolated, unsure what to revise, worried about failure, and convinced that one assessment will determine everything. The body responds to the meaning the mind gives to the situation, and the meaning is shaped by past experience, beliefs, resources, social support, coping strategies, and the person's current physical state. This connects well with the biopsychosocial approach. The biological part includes the nervous system, hormones, sleep, physical health, genetics, brain function, and bodily arousal. The psychological part includes thoughts, emotions, appraisals, coping strategies, previous experiences, personality, expectations, and beliefs. The social part includes family, friends, teachers, culture, community, social support, social norms, financial resources, and environmental demands. Stress is rarely only biological. It is rarely only psychological. It is rarely only social. Most of the time, it is a combination. A whole system responding. Now, let us move gently to the gut-brain axis. The gut-brain axis refers to the bidirectional communication between the gastrointestinal tract and the brain. Bidirectional means information travels both ways. The brain can influence the gut, and the gut can influence the brain. This communication involves the nervous system, including the vagus nerve, as well as hormones, immune signals, and the gut microbiota. The gut microbiota refers to the many microorganisms living in the digestive system, and research increasingly suggests that these microorganisms may be linked to aspects of physical and psychological functioning. For VCE psychology, the important idea is not to memorize every biological detail, but to understand that stress can influence the gut, and signals from the gut can influence the brain. Many people have experienced this connection in simple ways. Before a speech, an exam, a competition, or a difficult conversation, a person might feel nausea, butterflies, stomach discomfort, or a change in appetite. That is not imaginary. It is the body and brain communicating. Stress can affect digestion because the sympathetic nervous system reduces digestive activity during acute arousal, while stress hormones and nervous system activity can influence how the gut functions. At the same time, gut-related signals may influence mood, stress sensitivity, and general well-being. So the gut-brain axis gives us another way to understand stress as psychobiological. The mind affects the body affects the mind, and both are part of one connected system. Now, as we continue, let us think about the possible effects of prolonged stress. When stress is short-term, it may be adaptive. It may help someone respond quickly, study with focus, prepare for a challenge, or escape danger. But when stress becomes chronic and the body remains activated for long periods, it can contribute to difficulties in physical health, cognitive functioning, emotional regulation, behavior, sleep, and mental well-being. A person experiencing chronic stress may find it harder to concentrate. They may become more forgetful. They may feel more anxious, irritable, tired, or emotionally sensitive. They may experience headaches, muscle tension, stomach discomfort, sleep disruption, or changes in appetite. They may become more vulnerable to illness if immune functioning is affected. They may also rely on coping strategies that provide short-term relief but create longer-term difficulties, such as avoidance, overworking, withdrawing, or using substances in unsafe ways. This is why stress is not simply something to ignore. It is a real psychobiological process that can support functioning in the short term, but can strain functioning if it becomes too intense, too frequent, or too prolonged. Now, breathe slowly again, in and out. And as you breathe, remember that learning about stress does not mean you need to become stressed about stress. It simply means you are learning the language psychologists use to describe how the mind and body respond to demand. Let us now connect the ideas clearly, the way you might want to remember them for VCE psychology. A stressor is a stimulus, event, or situation that challenges a person. Stress is the psychological and physiological response to that challenge, especially when the person perceives that the demands may exceed their coping resources. The fight-flight-freeze response is an acute stress response that prepares the body to confront, escape, or remain still in response to a perceived threat. The sympathetic nervous system increases arousal and prepares the body for action. The parasympathetic nervous system helps calm the body and restore functioning after the threat or demand has passed. Adrenaline supports rapid arousal, energy release, increased heart rate, and preparation for immediate action. Cortisol helps maintain energy during longer-lasting stress, but prolonged high cortisol can place strain on the body and mind. The brain is involved through areas such as the amygdala, hypothalamus, and prefrontal cortex, which help detect threat, coordinate bodily responses, and regulate thinking and behavior. The gut-brain axis shows that the gut and brain communicate with one another, and that stress can influence digestive functioning while bodily signals may also influence mental processes. And the biopsychosocial approach reminds us that stress is influenced by biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors working together. Let these points drift through your mind slowly. Stressor, stress. Fight, flight, freeze. Sympathetic activation, parasympathetic calming, adrenaline, cortisol, brain, gut-brain axis, biopsychosocial functioning. You are doing well. There is no need to push. Now, before we finish, let us place stress into a simple example. Imagine a student sitting at a desk the night before an important psychology assessment. The assessment is the stressor. The student thinks, "I want to do well, and I am not sure whether I remember everything," and those thoughts contribute to the psychological part of the stress response. The student notices a faster heartbeat, muscle tension, and shallow breathing, which reflect the biological part of the response. The student receives a supportive message from a friend, has access to a revision sheet, and knows the teacher has explained what to expect, which are social factors that may reduce the stress response. If the student appraises the assessment as challenging but manageable, stress may help them focus. If the student appraises it as overwhelming and feels they do not have resources to cope, the stress response may become stronger and less helpful. The event matters, the appraisal matters, the body matters, the support matters, the whole person matters. That is why stress is such an important topic in psychology. It shows us that behavior and mental processes are shaped by systems working together, neurons and hormones, thoughts and emotions, social support and life demands, the brain and the body, the environment and the individual. Now, as this episode begins to close, allow the concepts to become softer. The nervous system has done enough for tonight. The sympathetic system can quieten. The parasympathetic system can take over. Your heart can settle. Your breathing can slow. Your body can rest. Tonight, we explored stress as a psychobiological process. We looked at stressors and stress responses. We looked at the fight, flight, freeze response. We looked at the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. We looked at adrenaline and cortisol. We looked at acute stress and chronic stress. We looked at the brain, the gut-brain axis, and the biopsychosocial approach. And now, you do not need to hold all of it tightly anymore. Let it rest quietly in the background. Let the room become still. Let the rain fade into the night. Let the warm lamp dim in your imagination. Your studying is done for now. You have done a wonderful job. This has been Sleepy Steve, helping you fall asleep and study. Good night.